Hi everybody, how's it going? Me personally, I'm having a week where I just need simplicity. You'll note the hair is pulled back. I want the hair out of my face. I want the makeup routine to be straightforward and easy, but still fun. You know, this is part of my daily routine that I need, but I want to take some shortcuts and keep it simple. I feel like we went from low-key summer to suddenly everything's moving again. Belle's All-Star Choreography Week is in full swing. She did make the Junior 2 team this year. She's very happy about that. But she's got all that, and on top of that, the open gyms begin for junior high cheer. Yes, she's going into 6th grade, so that means she is eligible for junior high cheerleading at school. So she's beginning that journey this week. Don't know if she'll make it, you know, but it's the open gyms that lead up to the tryouts. So that's going down this week. I'm starting to think about school supplies again. There's meetings for this and for that. I find out this morning the heating and air conditioning people are coming. Bub didn't even tell me he scheduled that until last night. If you just looked at my calendar over there on my desk, it's just full, and I just need something simple. So let's get going with that. I am reaching for my Wet n Wild Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator. This is in the shade Light. I've already got my skincare on. This is just one of those products that I feel always looks good, always easy to blend in, just never disappoints. You also kind of want consistency on days like this. Products you can pretty well count on. So I'm going to blend that in. This is my e.l.f. buffing foundation brush, by the way. Sometimes I gotta remind myself, just keep it one day at a time, you know? It's not like just because you got a lot on your calendar, you gotta live all those days all at once, you know? Time still passes one day at a time, man. I'm just really enjoying the low-key summer vibes, actually. There we go. There's that all blended in immediately. Everything's a little more cohesive. It's got a pretty glow, but it's not because of any shimmer. It's just, you know, giving us yet another little light layer of moisture. I love this stuff. So many people do. Then concealer, I'm going the stick concealer route. We're going with our CoverGirl Smoothers in the shade Light. And we're just gonna work this around our under eye areas. Inner corners of the eye, that's my problem zone. Around the nose, tackle any redness that might be there, and we hit the chin just because. And then we're just grabbing whichever concealer brush we lay our hands on first. Today it's the e.l.f. Tap and Blend. And we're just gonna kind of spread that concealer out a bit. This spreads so nicely. I've talked about it quite a bit, I feel like, but it's got moisture. If you've got the summer dryness like I do, which you think, aren't you just sweating in the summer? Well, I am sweating, but I do feel as a whole, my skin changes in the summer due to being in the pool. And I just think that dries out my skin a lot. Spreading this out. Really did quite a bit of blending there, but I like to finish the job with the foundation brush and just tap it in, preserve that coverage. We're not applying a lot of pressure. We're just doing a gentle, like, stipple it in type thing. Next, I'm not fussing with loose powder today. I grabbed a pressed powder that I can use for setting. This is my MCO Beauty one, so that's that brand that's in Target, and it kind of has some different dupe products. This appears to be duping, you know, the Charlotte Tilbury pressed powder that's so popular, but it's called Miracle Flawless Pressed Powder, and I have it in Light. And I think what I'm just going to do here is take a sort of compact brush, go into this, and I'm going to set my under eye right away here. Setting that, getting that nicely in place for the day. Just because we're trying to keep it simple doesn't mean we don't want staying power to really rock, you know? So I'm going to try taking that around my nose too. I'm getting mattified a little bit here. And also, I always like a powder right up here between the brows. Sometimes it's fun to take a little different method. Like I would normally use a triangle puff and a loose powder, but this is nice. It's doing a good job. Getting down here on the chin as well and around the lips, sides of the mouth. Now we're here, and I'm thinking about this palette. This is what I went to bed thinking about last night. Like, what about the Radiant Light palette from Essence that I got, which is in this deeper shade, and we found out this is very intense, but I thought, what if we see how this can do on, like, face and eyes? So what I'm first going to do is go into the bronzer. I love palettes that contain multiple steps when I'm trying to keep it easy and streamlined. There's something that feels simpler to me than grabbing out a bunch of different products. This is the time for the Hourglass palettes to come out, the Physicians Formula Butter Dream Team, whatever you got that's got multiple steps. And we're going to contour a little bit. Do that, getting in there. Contour, but also blend. This bronzer appears to be matte. There's obviously tons of glow in those highlighters at the top of this palette. I think the blush is pretty much pure color. If any sheen is there, it's a slight satin finish, but the bronzer is the matte part. Just a second, Rosie. In my area store, the light version of this palette wasn't available, and I really didn't mind. I was down to try either of them, but okay, we've got our bronzer worked in. Now we need a touch of blush, just a touch. Beep. Are we shocked by what Essence can do here? I mean, dang. I just got a little bit on there. Cute. Just a touch. This blush kind of stressed me out the first time around because I just wasn't expecting all the intensity. But it's pretty, and we do want that life to our cheeks. While we're thinking low-key simplified look, we still want that look of health on our cheeks and that vibrance, you know? I do find myself like I've tapped in gently another couple times. Just take it little by little, you know? Get hardly anything on, and then just add a tiny bit at a time. And then I think you'll be pleased with what you get. And then obviously we can use a highlighter here. I'm going to go with this one because I think that's the most highlightery on my skin. And we'll just let it raise up a little. I don't need tons of highlighter. Like in the summertime, I just feel like your skin's kind of naturally glowing a bit in this heat. But still, I feel like I put my skin through some dryness. Just the result of pool time. And, you know, I use some heavy duty sunscreen, but it's not necessarily really nourishing in a moisturization sense. I love the Aveeno Baby SPF 50. I think it does a really good job. That is what I put on my face. For the brows, I think I'm just going to pull out a couple products that I really know what they're going to do for me. You know, no questions here. The Morphe Micro Pencil in Java. Brush out my brow hairs a bit, give myself a gentle fill in, and then we'll use the Micro Manager Gripping Brow Gel to set them in place so we do not have to think about them again in the day. These little brow pencils are nice. They're not their nano size. The nano is even smaller, but I feel like I can pretty much use either one. And it's just kind of a level of familiarity. I know what the texture is like. I know it's going to lay down with ease. Now for the gel. This stuff is going to last me forever. I don't know what kind of magic is happening in this tube other than just the fact that it's a teeny tiny brush and the amount coming out on it is very controlled every time. So you just don't end up overusing it. That's probably the magic in this product here. Next up for eyes, we're gonna circle back to this. I am gonna pop some eyeshadow primer on just because I think regardless of what's going on your eyes, an eyeshadow primer first is just gonna help you out. So I'm getting some of that. This is Milani today. After bouncing around on primers a little bit, I still feel like Milani is probably the best, with e.l.f. a close second. The e.l.f., I love that it has the doe foot applicator in a squeeze tube. I think that's cool. But there's been a time or two where staying power has really failed me, and that was the one I was wearing. And the Milani can help out things that maybe would have challenged you a little bit staying power wise. But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use this bronzer with a crease brush and just give myself a nice easy crease, and that's a fairly deep bronzer, but I think it's going to be about perfect for like just some shadow in my crease. And then the shade I really haven't played with yet in this palette is this kind of coppery one, so I was thinking maybe giving that a shot on the eyes too. See, just gentle buffing, it gives us lift. That's what we're after here. Is like, why do you take the step of doing eyeshadow? Eyeshadow, you see where I'm putting it? Not just in the crease, but kind of above. Sometimes I don't even talk about the fact that that is where I'm placing it. But that matters, you know, because then your eyes suddenly have the look of lift. It's practically the illusion you're trying to create with mascara and lashes is lift and openness. And even if your mascara fails you a little bit, your eyeshadow can be serving that function. So there's that. Then what does this look like if we lay it down with a little bit more intensity? So like flat brush, Morphe M303. Well, it looks like bronzer, but it's there on the outer corner, outer part of my lid. Okay, I might add just a little bit of the berry blush, like just a touch of it on here. I really don't want to go hard with this, but I can actually see that just shifting the tone a little bit. And then I'm just grabbing the Morphe M302. Let's take some of this. What's it going to come off looking like? Sort of a rose gold, actually. I'm just going to lay that down on this section of my lid, this inner part. I'm not quite in the tear duct with it, but I'm on that inner part. I think I'll brighten the tear duct with the other highlighter shade. And this is kind of a nice little eye quad. I just thought, you know, when I first used it, there's so much pigment here. Cleaned off my brush a little, going into this. Let it brighten some right on the inside. It's not super spotlighting, but it gave me something. Just blending my outer corner a little more. You could have picked up more of that bronzer and made it even deeper, but I'm going for some softness still. Taking my L'Oreal Lace Shadow Stick, this is in the shade Brown Abyss, and I'm gonna swipe that. Just a quick, easy swipe across my upper lash line, okay? Just an easy swipe, see? So yeah, if you've never seen me use this before, it's a shadow stick. It's not just a skinny eyeliner. And something about the width of the stick, something feels more carefree and easy about it, you know? So I swipe that across. Maybe I'll smudge just a little bit on the outer lower part too. But it glides on with so much ease. I mean, I feel like I've had these on hand for quite a while now. Just the best shadow sticks. And then I'm gonna do some mascara. Now, I recently purchased the Extensionist, and I've been using it for the last few days alongside the Lash Paradise base, like lash primer, because somebody suggested that. And it does bulk up my lashes pretty well. But today, with the fact that I'm trying to keep it a little more simple, and I'm also curious about what this is like just on its own, I'm just gonna use this solo today. And a little e.l.f. lash extender on the lower lashes. I don't think this is a tubing mascara. I forgot to even check. Lashes curled. Did you guys know that the Weather Channel app, because I was just going to check what the forecast was as I was starting to do this, the Weather Channel app has the retro version back again. So it's going to give you this jazzy music that you might remember from Local on the 8s. Okay, this is pretty good on its own. Extensionist. It's extending. Biddy really loves checking the weather, and so I'll let her get on like my Weather Channel app, and she uses literally every function of like looking at the radar and seeing what's going on. She wants to see the weather everywhere in the world, so she scans around to Antarctica and literally everywhere, and then she gives me a report on it. She loves this stuff. Biddy, by the way, she's interested in getting into some piano lessons. That's on the horizon there. Rat's been copying the girls and wants to learn how to tumble. Might have to stick him in the class for that. For his own safety, primarily. He'll just throw himself around. I love the skinniness of this brush and the shortness of the bristles, actually. Like, I just feel like I can really get in there. Okay, there's like one coat. I'm gonna build it some more. I can tell it's starting to dry a little bit, but isn't totally dry over here on the right side, and that's probably about perfect for adding extra. It's nice because it's lengthening, but it's also thickening me up substantially too. Do some lash extender on the lower lashes. I did a full cleanup on Sunday of my like cabinet in the bathroom that was holding honestly like a lot of skincare stuff I was never reaching for. Things that I honestly thought I was eventually going to work into a routine, but they just never made it there, and I knew they were old. Older like lotions and stuff like that. That stuff just sneaks up on you. You thought you just bought it, but it turns out no, it's actually probably been there like 4 years. So that was good. That was a very good experience. Okay, this isn't even close to dry, and I still kind of want to play with adding possibly one more coat. I don't know how long this video is going to end up being, but one thing I can tell you is this makeup routine is going a lot faster than it normally does. Who's watching Dancing with the Stars Finding the Next Pro? Love that. Love that concept. I really like Ezra's sister. Okay, I topped it off a little bit. Then, because I'm guarding against feeling overstimulated today, I'm using a stain and only a stain. This is from e.l.f. and the shade is called Bergen Did That. Okay, so this is going to give us a little berry depth. Not too deep. But we're just swiping it on. It's like just a richer take on Benetint. A little deeper, a little more earthiness in it. Ooh, don't you love that color? And the face came to life. I'm building just a little down here. Like, I'm using a fraction of whatever was on this doe foot. Okay, I just turned off the camera because I was letting this lip just go ahead and dry down a little bit, and I added just a touch more powder with that same little powder brush around my T-zone, and I did this to my lashes, and I feel like this mascara really responds when I do that, just tipping them up a little bit and making sure they dry really upward. But that's my face, everyone. Just kind of light, clean, easy. I absolutely love how everything came together. I feel like it's just the right amount for me for a light eye. Like, I'm very satisfied with this. Coverage on the skin looks good. It's a lip that just pulls everything together. This is what I want when I'm thinking keep it simple. So thank you, my friends, so much for watching. I hope you're having a good day. If you're not having a good day, remember it's never too late to turn over a new leaf and give yourself a little reset. So thank you, my friends. I love you. Bye.